Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is Breaking Free, and I hope you are ready and willing to break free with me, because every Monday we come together at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and wherever you are, somewhere at the time you are, we're going to break free every single Monday, just a little bit. We take that freedom step forward to freedom, to flying like a bird over the rainbow. And I want to say hi to Amnon.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm just fine. How has your week been so far?
My week so far has been really good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I don't know where anybody is, but we're in Raleigh, Cary, North Carolina, and it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. The
yes,
weather.
You are.
Isn't it? My buddy over there. But it is gorgeous here. The weather is turning, and you can feel the fall is in the air. And after a not such a hot summer this year, but it's been really beautiful today. And summer hasn't been so bad. Usually we have like 99 and 100, but this year hasn't been so bad. But I'm still ready for the sweaters and my Uggs. So anyway, I want to welcome everybody. Remember to sign in with your name on that little space that you see across the bottom, so you can be part of our chat. We'd love to hear from you. You can write comments there. You can ask a question there. We'd love to have you part of the community. It's a very active chat, and we have a lot of fun there, so please take part. You are also welcome during the show, and I'll repeat this again, to call in whenever you like, 919-518-9773, or you can certainly Skype in with us at computers 2, that's the number 2, K Voice. And you can Skype in with us and take part in the conversation, ask a question, make a comment, whatever you like, because we'd love to have you part of it. We always do. So today, we have some lovely people coming on our show. We have a mother and daughter, Kelly and Ari. And Ari, I've been talking to Ari, and she is adorable. She is 13 years old, I believe, and has the most marvelous personality. All she does is want to laugh, and she's been asking me all kinds of great personal questions, so I love it. Now I get to ask her some personal questions. But from an early on, Ari has wanted to run like the rest of her family, so her mother decided to go ahead and do it. And Ari has cerebral palsy, and her mother, they have been running with the wheelchair in all kinds of marathons, and it's very inspirational. And I love anybody that speaks up. I love a kid that speaks up, and this kid is going to speak up. So let me introduce to you Kelly, Mama Kelly, and Ari. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marilyn, for having us as guests today. We're really excited to be here.
Good, it's a pleasure, and I want to introduce Ari. Ari, how you doing, honey?
Great.
You're great? Good. Well, it's nice to have you here. So, Kelly, you want to start? Tell us how you started and what actually started your running movement.
Actually, what started Team Ari was Ari's request to run with me. Ari has two older siblings, a 25-year-old sister and a 22-year-old brother, and we had been running together for about 6 years. And every time we would go out for a run, she would stop and she would say, "Well, how far are you running today, Mom?" And when I would come back, she would say, "Well, what did you guys see on your run today?" And last year she entered middle school, and what we found was that it was getting a little bit frustrating for her in middle school that she couldn't participate in some of the physical activities that were required during her PE. And she couldn't keep up with all of her peers at school in physical activities. So she began to ask much more frequently about running with me. And I finally, I knew that we really needed to act on it for her and for me both. And so I contacted a great running duo, Team Hoyt, Rick and Dick Hoyt, who have been blazing trails for the last 35 years in running with a physically challenged individual. And they put me in touch with an organization called My Team Triumph, And my Team Triumph has equipment to offer families and individuals with similar needs as Ari. So we got connected with the equipment that was necessary, and we started racing. And we ran our first race. It was a 5K race, which is about 3 miles. And Ari loved it and said, well, I want to go further.
So let me, well, before you go any further, I just want to clarify a few things. So is Ari mainstreamed? Is she in regular classes?
She was, yes. She
Okay.
Well, she participates in a special ed setting, but she does have mainstreaming with her peers during lunch and PE.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then, and so you needed special equipment, like a special chair?
We did. We needed actually what's called an adaptive running chair. And Ari's sitting in her wheelchair right now, but this is a manual wheelchair that is, for her transportation needs, but not her racing needs. So adaptive running chairs are built for individuals with physical challenges, and they're made to be safe and they're made to be comfortable for an individual who has a disability, and also for a runner who's actually pushing them. So when I pushed Ari in her first race, I actually did use this wheelchair that she's sitting in right now, but it wasn't the most advantageous to use because it's not made to be on the road racing.
I guess it's too heavy.
It is, yeah, because actually the equipment that we use now for running is very lightweight. It only weighs 24 pounds. So between Ari's body weight and the chair, I'm still pushing a large amount, over 100 pounds, but it's much lighter than this manual chair.
So what did you have to do to get into shape?
Well, I was lucky because by the time Ari really said, I want to run, and I knew she was on a mission. I was fortunate enough that I had about 6 years of running underneath my belt, and I'd run many marathons and half marathons, and I'd also tackled some ultra marathons over 26 miles. So I was in really good shape to be able to do this, and so that was an advantage that I had.
And upper body strength that you just went. I mean, what did you do for upper body strength?
I work out. I work out regularly at the gym, but I'm probably not as devoted to maintaining my upper body as I should be because I'm so focused on my legs all the time with running, and I do Pilates, I do some core training, but I definitely could add in more weight training for my upper arms.
So Ari, I want to ask you about running. So what was it about running that you so wanted to take part in? Why did you want to take part in running?
It's fun.
Because it's fun? What?
Yeah, and you get to have funny adventures when you run.
Okay, say that. Okay, clarify. Can you say that again?
And you get to have funny adventures when you run.
Plenty of
funny adventures when you run.
Funny adventures. Mm-hmm. Oh, like what? What kind of adventures have you had?
Sometimes one of Mommy's Gatorade bottles might fall out.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Sometimes Ari thinks it's hysterical when we're running, and if something silly happens, she always makes note of it. So she'll tease me if I'm running and I lose, my fluid comes out of I carry a running fuel belt, so she'll laugh at me if the fuel bottle falls on the ground while we're running, or you poke fun at me, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you run in races that anybody can run in, or particularly with adaptive? I mean, are you running in any kind of marathon, or just certain kinds?
No, we run in races that generally speaking, we're one of the only adaptive running duos that's running. Most of these races, everyone is able-bodied, and we're the differently abled individuals out there. But we've run 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. We actually did run a full marathon. On some occasions we've run with another group where there's been more than one of us that's physically challenged, but for the most part we're the only ones out there.
So it's amazing that you do this. I mean, just the strength and just the power that it takes to do it and to keep training.
You know, Ari is such an inspiration for me to, to do this, because one of the motivations that I had to start running, 6 years ago, was that she was just learning to walk. And I realized, I didn't want to take for granted any of the abilities that I had. And I saw what it took for her to learn to walk and all the therapies that she did in order to get there. And so that's when I started running. And so she inspires me to keep going, because I know that for her, it's a lot different. For her to be able to use her body in the same ways, it takes a lot more effort on her part.
So, Ari, so your mom said that you're an inspiration. So how do you think you inspire your mom?
By seeing funny things happen.
By what?
By seeing funny things happen.
By seeing things happen?
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
And also, I mean, one of the things that Ari has shared, I think, when we're running, is that, even though she's disabled, she can still do anything. And that's been a real motivating factor for us.
And you really know that, don't you, Ari? That you can do anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So what is it? So when you're in the chair and you're running, what does that feel like to you?
It feels great.
Like, could you describe it?
Sometimes it's cold. Some of the parts of it are cold.
Sometimes parts of it are what?
Cold when it's windy,
cold,
or
cold. Uh-huh.
But you get to feel the wind in your face a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
And what does that feel like?
It feels great.
It feels great. And Ari, how does it feel to know that you're accomplishing something?
Great.
It feels great, huh? Because a lot of kids, a lot of adults are, have a difficult time sometimes accomplishing things. And everybody has things that they want to accomplish that seems like it could be like climbing a mountain, and it could be so tough. And when we get to look at you and say, wow, she's teaching us something, just like you're teaching your mom. And that's really extraordinary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you like being a teacher, Ari?
Yeah.
Yeah? So when you're running, is there anything that you have to do with your body or with how you are in the chair to help your mom and to run? Is there anything that you have to do?
Ari's really good about, she's funny. Sometimes she's very comical because she doesn't like people beating us. So she'll tell me, we need to beat them. You need to go faster.
So she's coaching you, huh?
She is. She's pacing me.
So when you are running, where do you come in as far as the races are concerned when you're racing with people that are able-bodied? Where are you in the race?
Usually, it's safest for us to start at the front of the pack because it's easier for people to pass us than for us to pass them. And what happens is I made the mistake several times where I was actually at the back of the race, and then I was passing so many runners, and it was harder to navigate. So I like being closer to the front. That way, people can pass us, and it's safer.
That's really, yeah, I would imagine that works much better. So, Ari, so do a lot of your friends get to watch you race?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what do they think?
It's awesome.
What was that?
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure they think so. I think anybody that could run in a race is awesome. Half marathon, whole marathon, I don't get anybody that runs to me is awesome. So do you run as a whole family too with your brother and sister, Ari?
Not yet, only because our oldest daughter is in France, and then our son is actually in Southern California. He was accepted into a physical therapy program, so he's working on that degree. So we haven't had the opportunity to run with them.
And I will tell you of what their names are.
What are their names?
Their names are Nick and Lindsay.
Nick and Lindsay. But you don't miss a trick, do you, honey? Do you know what? You are right on it, aren't you? So,
yeah.
So tell me what the mission is for Team Ari.
Our mission is to increase awareness, for individuals and families with disabilities, that they can participate in endurance races, that, with equipment, the necessary equipment, that you can do this and you can run and you can have the thrill of crossing that finish line, just like any other runner can.
Mm-hmm. So, so what do you want to, what is possible? Does everybody, a lot of people, what's the difficulty in doing this that is something that would make it hard for people to do it? Is it acquiring the equipment? Is it getting somebody like you to be able to run with them? What is the difficulty? Are you not accepted by, into the marathons? What do you want to do?
Well, we've had, out of 15 races that we've been able to run, we've only had 2 negative experiences, and one experience really took us by surprise because we had some opposition to us being out there on the course by the actual race director, one of the race directors, and we were standing at the start line, and unfortunately this individual came over and said, "You're not really going to run like this, are you?" And we said, "Of course we are." And we said we've registered, and we talked to a race director, and the course is safe for us to run, and so he told us to go to the back of the pack, and so I didn't want to create a fuss with several thousand people out there, so we moved back, and as we started running the race, I was passing individuals, and he was standing on the sideline of the course and saw me, and he told me I had to stop. He said, "You need to wait for everyone else to go." And I said, "Okay." So we were walking, and after a couple of minutes, I thought, we can't just walk. We're going to run.
You're runners.
And so we started running, and he literally was chasing us on the course, telling us, that we needed to wait for everyone else to go. And Ari said, "Mom, just go."
That's funny.
And so, it was our Catherine Switzer moment where, Catherine Switzer was the first female to run the Boston Marathon and literally was chased, almost off the course. And if it hadn't been for friends of hers there to kind of protect her, she would have been thrown off the course. And so in my mind, I thought, well, this is our Catherine Switzer moment. And, we're making history here. We're not going to be stopped. And we had so many people, runners, that were aware of what was going on and came up to us and said, "We're so glad you're out here. You inspire us." And that's usually the message that we get from people that are racing. They say, it's wonderful to see you at 20 miles with 6 miles left to go, and you're passing us. You show us that we can do it too.
Those are great stories. I think people, they're scared of what they don't know, or they're uncomfortable with what they're not comfortable with.
Exactly.
But for you to be able to say, you know what, that's your discomfort, that's where you are. We're going to go and do something different.
Yeah, and it's it's amazing that whatever their discomfort is, we're not going to promote that, and we're going to dismiss that. We're not going to pay attention to it, and we don't, because normally 99% of the time we're so well received, and people want us there. People want us out there racing,
and more will.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think the more verbal you are about it, the more you can make more common what you're doing, and the possibilities for other people to do whatever without people feeling like, inhibited by it.
No, and one of the things that is occurring and can occur, and I think potentially will grow from all of this, is that races, I think now are willing to create categories for individuals like us that are running together and calling it either an assisted athlete division or a physically challenged division. And I think we're going to see that happen. It's starting to happen, and there's a movement towards that. So I think that, race directors and runners are recognizing that you can still be an athlete in this way, in this fashion. Even though you require some equipment to do it, it doesn't take away from your ability to be an athlete.
Well, how is it different than the Special Olympics?
Well, in the Special Olympics, I don't know that they allow, I'm not sure that they actually allow the equipment that we're using, an adaptive running chair. I'm not familiar enough with it, so I don't want to be inaccurate in sharing that. I'm not sure. Are you? Okay. And I think for us, it's being included. That what we're doing is an inclusive environment. So we're not competing against. We're competing against athletes who don't have any challenges as well. So it's a more of an inclusive environment.
Right. Well, I love the whole idea. And Chris just wrote, she wrote, I'm wondering how much support and inspiration Kelly and Ari had from Born, when the father ran a mile maybe a few times a week to keep his weight down, took on the challenge and pushed his son in a wheelchair for 5 miles. He finished next to last, and that night Rick said to his father, when we're running, I felt like I wasn't disabled anymore. Ari, do you feel that way when you're running, that you're not disabled anymore? How do you feel?
Great.
Do you feel like you can do anything, huh?
Yeah.
But she feels that way anyway.
For the most part, I think. I mean, I know, there's some things that have come up, that she has felt I can't always do, but for the most part, you feel like you can tackle anything, huh?
Yeah.
And how do you feel, and where did you get that from, Ari? Where did you get the feeling that you could do anything you want to do?
My brain told me.
Your brain told you. And your brain tells you could do anything you want to do. And so tell me the kinds of things you want to do. You're running now. What else do you want to do?
Have some more crazy adventures running.
You want to go on some crazy adventures. So you want to run in different parts of the world?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So where would you like to go, honey?
China.
China. Why do you want to go to China?
Because it would be fun.
Well, there's a lot of places that can be fun. Why China?
What do you want to see in China?
The Great Wall.
The Great Wall. So you want to see the Great Wall? Well, that would be pretty awesome.
It would be pretty awesome.
It would be. And where else would you like to go?
France.
France. Okay. Good food in France. Why would you like to go?
You can run with Lindsay.
You can run with Lindsay. Wow. That's a special run. That would be really great. Kelly, you taking note of this, or you already knew all this?
No, you know what? We've known for a while that Ari wants to go to France to see her sister Lindsay and run with her there. And then China came up last year when I think they were really studying in school history and learning about China and the culture and the Great Wall. And so Ari started talking then about...
And I will tell her of what I got to learn about China last year.
Okay.
We got to learn that there were villains.
There were some villains, huh?
Yeah.
That there are villains?
There were some villains in
China.
What they make you do.
But that doesn't scare you, does it?
They made them
build
the wall.
The Great Wall.
And that doesn't scare you, does it?
It's funny.
It's funny. So, talk to me about adventures. because, you know, the name of this show is Breaking Free. And at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of our life, you know, it would be great to look back and not regret anything if we don't have to. It'd be great to look back and say, I did this, I discovered that, I experienced this. I think I would love to see that for myself and for everybody around, that we can say, you know, we can kind of go like this, yes, you know, and that we, just like you feel at the end of a race, yes, I did this. So tell me about adventures to you. What does that mean for you, having adventures? Ari?
Sometimes their adventures are crazy.
They're crazy, right?
When you saw the shark.
When you saw it, that's right. You did. You know what? Yeah.
It's kind of sometimes like living in a movie, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. One time while we were racing, we actually saw a shark.
You saw a shark.
We were in a half marathon race the course took us on the shore of the bay, the San Francisco Bay, and there's some sharks in the water, small, not big great white sharks, but sharks that are visible enough. So as we were running, we were able to see the fin in the water, and I pointed it out and told Ari, there's a shark. And so she thought that was great.
So have you met some people along the way that you keep seeing at some of these races that have become some friends?
We have. We've had the opportunity to meet, families who have a disabled, sibling or a disabled child, and cousins, aunts, uncles, and they've, shared their experiences with us while we're running, and met us and talked about how when they see us, it brings them great joy to know that we're able to be out there doing what they may not have been necessarily able to do with their own family member. Right.
So Kelly, what's it like for you as a mom to be able to fulfill the dream of your daughter?
Oh, I'm just feel extremely blessed and joyful about it, that I have the opportunity to run with Ari. And when I had the opportunity to run with her, brother and sister, I thought that was a special. Not many parents, can do that with their children, and so I appreciated, I cherished it with her older brother and sister, and I didn't think I would ever have the opportunity to do it with Ari. So, and we were able to get equipment. It's fulfilled the dream for me that is priceless.
Mm-hmm. So when she said to you she wanted to run, I mean, that was probably like an aha moment.
Absolutely. And, because at first when she started talking about it, I had some guilt, as I would put my running shoes on and I'd go out the door, and I would feel this immense guilt that I wasn't taking her along with me, because I just didn't know how to do it at that point. I didn't know, how to get equipment, where to get it. And then when she kept asking, then I knew, what, I've got to do something. I can't let this go anymore. So
I guess where there's a will, there's a way.
There is, and I think any parent, for the most part, that's what we do for our kids. We hear their needs, we hear their dreams, we hear their wishes, and we want to help fulfill that for them. So, and with Ari, we've dreamed so many new dreams for her, especially dreams that we didn't think would be possible.
Besides the running?
Absolutely. I mean, when Ari was originally diagnosed with cerebral palsy, it was a very foreboding prognosis, and we were told, that she wouldn't ever walk, she wouldn't talk, she would be severely impacted. And Michael and I, we didn't want to accept that is the given, and we didn't want to believe that was going to be the case for her. And so for her, when she, we were told when she was 4 years old she would be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, and that she wouldn't independently ambulate. And she was 5, and she started walking independently after a lot of therapy and a lot of assistance. And she does wear ankle foot orthotics, to help her stability when she walks independently. But she's surpassed so many goals that we didn't think originally the doctors didn't think would take place. And talking too. I mean, once she started speaking, she really didn't stop. She's a little chatty Cathy.
Wow.
And we had our 1 year running anniversary.
I know you did. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Ari, so your mom and I would talk, your mom's telling me about all these things that you surpassed what they said you couldn't do. You always went beyond that. How do you do that? What do you tell yourself something? I mean, what is it that happens?
What do you do to make things fun?
Yeah, what do you do to make things fun?
What does your brain-
Before you said your brain does it. So what happens with your brain? What does your brain say?
Pretend like it's something. Remember?
You need to think about that one.
Is that a hard question?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, well, think about it. Maybe you can tell me, before the show is over, because I'd love to know, what you do or what you tell yourself, to do these things. I mean, to get up and walk can't be easy. So what do you tell yourself when you're going to get up to walk? When you have to, when it's hard. When something is hard, what do you tell yourself?
Keep trying, don't give up.
What?
Keep trying, don't give up.
Keep trying and don't give up. Well, that's a good answer right there. Keep trying and don't give up. And you don't give up, do you?
Nope.
So you just, it seems to me that you just keep trying a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you do whatever it is that you want to do. Is that right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you say it with such, I love how you say that, because you say it like, but of course, that's exactly how I do it.
Right.
Right? Is that how you feel, Ari?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it right then that just that way too. You said, yeah, like, of course, and how else are you going to do it? Right?
Right.
Absolutely.
So what do you, Ari, what do you want to do as you get older? Like, what kind of, do you want to go to, you want to work? What do you want to do?
Be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor. What kind of doctor?
For kids?
For kids or
For kids.
Kids. What, like a doctor that takes care of kids that are sick, or what? Like a pediatrician, or?
sick kids?
Yeah.
That's great, Ari. You know what? I know you're going to do it. Aren't you?
Yeah.
Of course, there's that sound again. That,
It's like,
yeah.
why don't you know this? Why are you asking me?
I mean, she's making me feel stupid.
Exactly. That's what makes us feel. You know?
Ari, you're making me, huh?
It's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like that's how she's making me feel. Like, of course I'm stupid. What are you kidding? Of course I'm going to do this. That's great. So, your other children, I bet they're just marvelous.
They are. We're really, I mean, they were 10 and 12 when Ari was born. So they had, their relationship with Ari, a lot of their bonding centered around her therapies, because we had so much therapy in our home. The first 3 years of Ari's life, we had physical therapy, we had occupational therapy, and speech therapy. And they would come home after school and they would participate in that with her. And as they grew older, her therapies then shifted, to outpatient clinics that they would go along after school also. And so, or Ari would be, they would be in their activities, their athletic activities or school activities, and Ari would be with us all the time. So she grew up on a lot of soccer fields and basketball games and cheerleading practices and swim meets, and so they were able to develop a closer relationship with her than I think what we originally thought. With the age difference, we were kind of worried, would they, how would they relate? How would she relate?
Well, what did you tell them? I mean, how did you how did you parent them to be like they were?
I think we parented them that acceptance was so important in our household, that we were all equal no matter what our differences are, and that we all have different gifts, and each of them has a unique gift, and they're not the same, but they're all unique and special in their own way. And so I think their perception of growing up with a sister that had a disability was that she was just like the rest of us. There was nothing really, out of the ordinary. That they have their weaknesses, just like Ari has her challenges, but we're all the same.
And it appears that they get along really well.
They do. I know. We miss. I know Ari misses them because Lindsay's been actually in France for the past 3 years, and then Nick graduated with his bachelor's. He was away at college, working on his bachelor's, and then was home for a short time, and then was off to graduate school for his PT program. So I know that she misses them. We Skype a lot.
Right.
We actually usually Skype Lindsay once a week, so Ari has a lot of contact with her still. And Nick, we're able to see him because he's still in California here, but just not as frequently.
Right. Well, you don't live like a family with a disability.
I think, we live a pretty ordinary life. I mean, no, I mean, there isn't anything that we don't, that we don't do, or, I think we're pretty ordinary.
Because, a lot of families that you see with a member of the family with disabilities, they seem to have a tremendous amount of struggle, whether it's the simple things, isn't simple, but even just putting a wheelchair in and out of the car, or having to park, or, the weather is bad. A couple of weeks ago we had this really beautiful woman on our show. Her name is Teal Scherer. I don't know if you got to watch, but she's an actress. She was in a very bad car accident at the age of 14, and became a paraplegic and was in a wheelchair. And she has a phenomenal sense of humor, phenomenal, and funny, and just like Ari, funny and beautiful. And she was talking about how she was getting into. She showed. I mean, it was in a video. She was getting into her car and out of her wheelchair, and I guess she was going to get in the car and then close the wheelchair, and the wheelchair took off.
Oh no!
Yeah, and it was like, what was she going to do? When I saw this, I thought, what did she do? How did she go get the wheelchair? Well, she just drove to it. I didn't even think about it. She was in the car. She just drove to the wheelchair. For me, it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yes.
But she's challenged herself in many ways to be able to think in a bigger, grander, out-of-the-box way, and been faced with things that I haven't had to face with. Now, you are the same way, and you're telling me you live an ordinary life. How do you keep it so that the struggles aren't such struggles, and the difficulties aren't so difficult and challenging and taking over? How do you do that?
Absolutely humor. You do have to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh with others. Absolutely, positively, and I think we're very resilient. In that we've developed more resiliency as we go. Obviously, there's things that we have everyday frustrations just like anybody else does. Some things you just have to let go. You have to say, is it really that big of a deal? And move on and move forward. And the glass is half full. It's not empty. And, I think we're really, really fortunate that we have what we have. And, that we've been able to do what we're able to do.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to other families that have a member of their family with a disability, from where you are and what you know? What would you tell them?
That you will dream new dreams, and you'll develop new hopes, for your child and for your family, because we didn't envision, when Ari we just didn't envision having a child with disabilities, but we also didn't envision that life could be this full either. And I can't imagine, you know, we love Ari from head to toe, and we wouldn't want her to be any different than what she is. And so I think, yeah, I think there's so many gifts in having a child with different needs, and it makes you appreciate fully what you do have. I no longer take for granted, you know, my health or you know, being able to walk, put my running shoes on and run out the door. I don't take that for granted, and I think I probably did before. You know, before I had a child that had different needs, I think I did take some of those things for granted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does. When you see something so much, it really does refocus you, you know, into seeing something different. And I loved what you said, and I want to ask you if you could repeat it, even if you don't repeat it the same way. You did not envision, you said something about not envisioning a child with disabilities, nor did you envision it being perfect. So could you repeat how you said that?
No, I just didn't envision what life would be like, you know, having a child with you know, challenges or special needs. But I didn't envision that it could be this good either. Okay. That Ari would bring so much joy into our lives and fulfillment that we never would have experienced had we not had her.
You know, my former husband has a cousin, and I was always in awe of how his life turned out, because he had cerebral palsy. You know, I think cerebral palsy, but a lot of other things as well. And his mother, at an early age, made him drive. He got a job. He had a bank account. He had a credit card. He got married. He and I was always just like, I would watch and I would be so in awe at how she never stopped. She, you know, she just, you know, pushed. And I think sometimes pushing hard and then pushing just because it was the right thing to do, for him to have just a regular life. Mm-hmm. And that was always so inspiring to me, you know. And watching the two of you, you know, everybody out there, you're welcome to call in 919-518-9773, or computers, that's plural, 2K voice, if you want to Skype with us. Anybody out there that has a member of your family with a disability, or knows somebody with a disability, I think this is a show you're going to want to watch again and again, and you're going to want to share, because I think what Kelly has just responded to is that you don't plan, you know, you don't really plan for anything really in that regard. You kind of get what you get, and you do the best you can with it. And you know, I can see how your life is full. Mm-hmm. I can see how your life is joyful. I know that every once in a while I hear your husband somewhere in the background, and his name is Mike, right?
Yes.
Mike, you want to say anything to us from his father's perspective? You want to kind of scoot over there between your daughter and your wife and share something with us? Because I think it's nice to meet you, Mike.
Hello.
Hi,
Thanks
Mike. So I know you've been listening, and you've been obviously participating in your family's life. What do you want to share about your life and about, you know, bringing up Ari?
Oh, I think Kelly's been so eloquent in explaining how things have gone for us. It's just amazing what Ari's been able to do, and we're so proud of her. You know, we're so happy that we're able to be out there and see people and explain what we're doing and have a good time. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is key. What Kelly explained is having that sense of humor, that ability to, okay, you had a horrible day or whatever, but then you know, somebody makes a joke and we're just laughing like crazy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're just so proud of Ari.
Mm. Well, you know, I love how you are as a family, and you know, it's great that you're doing what you're doing, you know, to get for other people to be able to run and be inclusive and all that kind of stuff. But what also, everybody's got to have a platform to be able to share something that's extraordinary, so that so everybody else in the world could catch it. You know, it's kind of like have it be contagious. Like for me, being here and Amnon giving me the opportunity to have the show and having our guests come on like you share something. This is my platform. This is a platform that I get to be able to offer you up to the world, for the world to see how it can be. And you've taken on a platform like running, so that the world can see you in your natural state, not just running, but in your natural state of being in a family, of being supportive, of being full in life, for being joyful, for being humorous, and for Ari to be able to show, that she's no different than everybody else. And so I think you having the spotlight on you, any way you can do it, for the purpose of running, but also for the purpose of other people to be able to see you, is I don't even know. I can't even put into words. It's great.
Oh, we love all your shows. We've been watching as many as we can, and we thank you so much for having us.
Well, it's really a pleasure, and thank you for doing what you're doing, because there's a lot of families, like I said earlier, that are struggling, and it may be a physical disability, it could be an emotional disability. I mean, a lot of it could be a lot of different things. But you're not doing anything that is so unusual. You're just doing what's right. Does that make sense? I mean, you're being parents.
And it's so great to when we're out on the courses, that when Kelly's able to share, and the My Team Triumph organization is nationwide. There's My Team Triumphs almost all over the country. So people need to know, if you do have a disabled family member, just look up My Team Triumph online, and you should be able to find some chapter near you, and they can help you. And you don't have to be a runner. They will have people that will help push, your family member with you.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So that's an important thing for families to know, that this organization does exist for you.
So when you accomplish what you want to accomplish, what will that be?
Well, I don't know that we've got the playbook all written, or right now it's just get 13 half marathon in for age 13, and then we don't know what 2014 is going to bring.
So you're going to go to China?
Well, apparently that's on our bucket list.
Ari,
yeah.
You got yourself some great parents there. Ari, you're a very fortunate young woman. You have yourself some great parents. You know that.
Looking at the flight information.
Is that what does your father play with your hair all the time?
Oh, she's got beautiful hair.
She has beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
And I will tell her about this morning what outfit I should wear, about the pirate one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And this morning, Daddy told me, when I asked him of what outfit I think he should wear, he said a pirate patch.
Tell me, I missed part of that. What was that?
Well, I was teasing her this morning when she was getting ready for the interview, and I said, well, why don't you wear a pirate patch? That might help. And then it just, that's the kind of thing we do, and then tease each other and laugh. And she just was laughing like crazy. You don't put on a pirate patch for an interview.
Well,
right?
Yeah, laughter is so healing.
It is.
It
is.
It's so healing, and it's so. I mean, it can move mountains. One thing that I want to just ask, Chris is just asking, do you have to take any special steps to prepare for the race? Anything different than what other runners would do?
Our routine, our race morning routine is a little bit different. If I were to run a race by myself, I wouldn't have as much planning. we have to really carefully plan what races we're doing and where, because Michael usually is out on the entire course, meeting us at different places on the course to give us, fluids that we might have, that we need, that other runners don't need. And also he takes photographs of us usually on the entire course. So strategically we do a little more planning. Michael spends more time on the internet, map questing and Google Earthing courses so that he knows specifically where we're going to be at what points.
And the only other thing I might do is, because it's a chair and it's got 3 wheels, and I have to check the air pressure, and in the event that she would get a flat tire. But that hasn't happened, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So this really is like a family affair.
Oh yeah, it's the night before we're printing maps and, okay, I'm going to meet you here at mile 5 and yeah.
We also want to know, does Ari have to do anything special to prepare for the races?
Smile for the camera with the medal.
Smile for the camera. So we're only going to have just a few more minutes left, and I love you as a family, and I just want to say that one more time. I mean, I just think that each of you are finding, and I think what's so extraordinary again is that none of you are giving up anything. You're doing the things for each other that you enjoy doing anyway. Kelly, you like to run anyway, and this is taking you on an adventure. And Mike, right? That's your name, Mike?
Yeah.
Mike, are you a photographer?
Well, I guess I am now. I wasn't really before, but I am now.
What do you do, Mike?
Right now, I'm retired.
You're retired. So, I mean, I can see you like enjoying that part and being, so you've taken on something that you enjoy as
sure,
part of this team.
We're going to areas. I mean, I was born and raised in the Bay Area, so we're going back to places that I haven't been to in many years. So, it's nice.
So it's great. And Ari, you get the benefit of the whole thing, don't you, honey?
Yeah.
There's that sound again. I'm going to remember that sound forever, Ari. I'm going to hear you when I'm approaching something that may be difficult for me, or I'm just going to go. I'm going to hear you say, "Yeah." I can't even. Can you say it again? Yeah. So Ari, before we go, because we're going to be leaving in just a few minutes, what would you like to tell all of our listeners, watchers, people commenting in our chat, and everybody that's listening and watching, and that will listen and watch this show in the future? What would you like to tell everybody?
That you can have crazy adventures when you race.
And then what else do you normally tell people? Even though
you're disabled, you can still do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Say it all one more time.
Even though you're disabled, you can still do anything.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And I believe you have given me so much oomph today, because of the fact that you can do, because I know that you can do anything. And I'll tell you something, your speech is beautiful. You have a beautiful way of speaking. And I want you to know that. So you might become a doctor, or maybe you will become a doctor, but you also have a beautiful, you're very clear, and your speech is just beautiful. So you've done really, really well, Ari. Really well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So Kelly, in closing, what would you like to add?
For all the families that experience a family member with a disability, that you do dream new dreams, and you have so many opportunities, to experience, that disabilities don't take that from you.
They really don't, do they?
No, not at all.
Was it ever really hard for you, though, Kelly?
Oh, I think for Michael and I both, I think we grieved We absolutely do, and there's no doubt about that. That you grieve the loss of the dreams that you thought your child would have, and so that's where the concept of dreaming new dreams comes in. Is that you grieve the loss of a child that's healthy, but you begin to develop new hopes and aspirations for the child with unique needs, different abled needs.
And so let me ask you, I know this is a hard question, and because we're almost at the end, but what did you do when you were struggling? How did you find that next breath?
Just keep going. I used to laugh. This was the mantra in our house in the early years. I would tell, we would share it with Lindsay and Nick too, that we're going to survive. We're going to get through this. This is doable. This too will pass.
Gotcha. Okay, so they find you where? Tell me about Team Ari. They find you where?
We're on Facebook at Team Ari, ARI. You can find us there, and you'll see us at a lot of races in California. If you live in California, we've had the opportunity to travel so much, in our state through running and like Michael was sharing, going back to places that he grew up in his early childhood with. And so, if you're out here in California and you want to run with us, just send us a message on Facebook and hopefully it'll happen.
All right, great. And then when anytime you know your schedule, just plop it down on the Breaking Free Show page on Facebook. And that way, we people who, a lot of our visitors and, people that have done shows and listen to shows, they go there and they can be part of it as well and see which it's like a community page. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, definitely. And Mike, you're a special man.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having us again.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I want to thank everybody out there for, being part of this and I don't know what everybody's takeaway can be because there's been so many moments today with sharing with this family. But I know that for me, I'm kind of at peace. I mean, listening to this family, you get a sense of peace. And I feel a sense of peace. And I would love to hear from all of you, from any of you out there. You can write me above my head, click on my name, and it'll take you to my email address, and write me and share with me anything that you've picked up from today. Like us on Facebook at The Breaking Free Show. You can go and like my personal business page, Marilyn Shannon. I'd love for you to do that. If any of you have any needs for coaching, I am a great coach, both business and life. Love to help you out. Please feel free to write me again at Marilyn at Reenchant Planet Earth. It's above my name. And if you have any ideas for shows, or you know somebody, or you have a topic, we're going to approach some topics coming up. Let me know that as well. Let me know what you need. What do you want to talk about? Because what you want to talk about, I can guarantee you other people want to talk about it too. So let me know that. Also tune into our other shows on this channel. We've got some great ones. We've got Carrie on Sunday night. She's a great psychic, my dear friend. We have Julie on Wednesday nights. She's another great friend. Reawaken Your Brilliance. Debbie Bruck, I don't know what I would do without her. My favorite homeopath. And Amnon, our computer geek guru, his show on Sunday mornings. And we have a really great, on Wednesdays, a show about Vietnam vets. And that would be a really great show for everybody to listen to as well. So Ari, you are my new hero. And I would love to hear from you and for you to keep up with me and let me know all the things that you're up to. Okay, honey?
Yeah.
All right. And with that, I want to wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today. And to Mike and Kelly and Ari, thank you so much for doing what you're doing and being who you are while you're doing it. So thank you so much. And everybody out there, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays, 8 till 9 p.m. Health Inn with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by thatvidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.